Morning everyone, I am Meg from LovenStamps and you are watching Maker Mornings with Meg. Today's project has another hidden gem from the January through April mini book, and it is the Loveliest Flowers Decorative Masks. So probably didn't jump off the page and wow you necessarily, but I think you're gonna really like today's project, and I will show you how to make the most of these masks. So there are 4 masks included in the package that come together to make a, let's see, how can you see? A beautiful floral. That is what we're gonna use. There's also a fabulous background mask that you can use to do all kinds of background textures and ideas. And if you haven't used masks before, there's lots of ways to use them, not just with a Stampin' sponges or sponge daubers or why can't I come up with a I can't, oh my gosh. Sponge, brush sponges? Oh gosh. Okay, well anyway, the brushes that'll come to me eventually. But these are the new storage containers. So they work really well on the counter. They're really fun. You can see exactly what colors you have. You can grab them what you want. They have like a little spot in the back where the little ends of the handles nest. And so they're really handy to use that way. Oh, and then did you see too, those are the new minis here, the little tiny ones. They're, I don't know, half or a third of the size of the big ones. So there are some reasons that you would want to use those instead, and I'll talk about those when we're doing our project today too. Stamps and dies that we're using are the Something Fancy stamp set, which is a great set of greetings, and I will tell you my favorite one in here, which is a terrible one to have as a favorite, but it is. And then the dies here that go along with these, which give you lots of different great tag feature dies. And there is kind of this little hole die right up here. So you can make any of these into a tag. They don't just have to be labels, but I love when that little tiny die isn't included in the die, because it makes it so much more flexible to use as a label without having to have that hole at the end. So really great choices there on making those. The last thing we're gonna use, we're gonna pull in some of our Dandy Designs Designer Series paper, which is one of the Sale-A-Bration items. So a great chance to add like a great staple set and die set to your collection when you want to get a thing for free. So, all right, with that, all the supplies are in the video description, so you can check those out. And let's get stamping here. So I have my paper cut here. We're gonna go ahead and do a wide card. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, and I have scored it, which you may or may not be able to see there in the middle, because when you cut cardstock to fold this way, you always, with the Stampin' Up! Cardstocks, want to score that. It runs against the grain, against the hand of the cardstock, and so it will have a trouble at the end there getting creased if you don't pre-score it. So let's take a look at these flower and leaf choices here. So these are, sorry, just realized I had to plug my computer in. Those are the choices for the masks, and they are meant to layer on each other. So I'm going to tell you about the order that I prefer to ink them in. Of course, if you find that a different method works better for you, you should go with that. But definitely this is going to be the way I like to ink and work with them. So we're going to start here with the flower, the largest flower. And you'll notice when you have these in person that there's a glossy side, and here, put them together. This is the glossy side and this is the matte side. So whichever side you want to go with, I always put my matte sides up. You just need to make sure that they're all the same so that they all match. All right, so my cardstock is cut a teeny bit smaller than the mask, and I will tell you that that is by design. So the first time I made one of these, I need my washi tape end, I didn't cut it smaller. It was about the same size, and I had a little trouble with my Stampin', oh my gosh, what are those things called? Okay, I know in the comments, you guys are gonna help me out. So with my brushes, okay, we're gonna have to look it up here. What is the name of the tool that is the thing? Yeah, blending brushes. Oh my gosh, I couldn't get Stampin' out of my head. So yeah, blending brushes. So I had trouble with my blending brushes. When I cut my cardstock larger than the paper, and I would take my blending brush and I would go off the edge, then I would get a white sort of smudge at the edge, or a colored smudge at the edge of my paper. And I don't really like that effect. So I wanted to do this with a slightly smaller piece, so there's no chance of getting that smudge. You don't have to work so hard. Now, if you did have an occasion where you had to go like right up to the edge of the mask, and then the mask wasn't protecting your paper, that would be a good time to use the little mini blending brushes, because they can get into a tighter corner that way. All right, working with blending brushes, swirl on your pad to pick up ink, bring that back to your cardstock, and swirl to add the color to your card. I am going to start off at the edge of my flower every time, because remember, just because it's a mask, it's not like, you know, Crayola markers. You're not limited to one shade. So I'm going to get the whole thing covered, but do you see how there's a lot more color going on at the edges of my flower? So what that's going to do is it's going to add some depth to our flower as we go. And I'm not going to worry too much about the dots and what color they end up. Let's get this kind of evened out in the center. All right, so now we have our first part here done. I'm going to peel the washi tape from the back. I'm going to leave it attached to my cardstock, and there you can see our piece. Now you can also you don't have to attach them. You can just hold them with your hand. It's a little tricky sometimes to keep it all in one place, so I recommend the washi tape. Then if you were going to use this again, remember I always use the matte side up, so I would know this is the side to use, not this side. Otherwise, I just take these to my sink and I rinse them off. So really simple, just right in the sink, so they're easy to wash. You could also use your chamois too if you didn't have a sink handy. All right, and second here, I have to just lay that down on my washi tape, and I'm going to bring in my Melon Mambo ink pad, and this is going to use another blending brush. A lot of times I'll use blending brushes, like I have one for purples, and one for greens, and one for reds. The blending brushes don't hold a lot of ink. They pick it up and put it on your paper. They don't grab onto it, and like it's not like soaking an ink pad or something. So you really can go on to another color and use a blending brush for multiple colors. If you wanted to, though, you can go wash them. Again, just use soap or detergent and water, a lightweight soap, or just use water and rinse them. So, all right, but once you've put your ink on, there's not a lot of ink left inside that blending brush. So they do what they're supposed to, and that is put the ink on the paper, not soak it into them. So, all right, so there is step 2 of our mask. Now we have our leaf stamps and our leaf items. So make sure, if you're having trouble getting it to go on there, make sure that you are orienting it the right way. And it doesn't matter too much where you put the leaves. There we go. Love having that washi tape to hold it in place for me. And I'm gonna use Garden Green. So we've got Mango Melody, Melon Mambo, and Garden Green. And I want this to be kind of on the light side. You'll notice that I never pick up my brush and set it right in the middle, because when you do that, you end up with like a smudge, okay? So I don't want that smudge on my image. So I always swirl to pick up ink, and then I set my brush down on the edges there and just sort of move it over in a swirling motion onto the image so that I'm getting an even coating, okay? We'll keep this brush handy because we're gonna use it again. So there is the light green. And then our last one, this one does line up. It feels like it doesn't. You just got to keep fiddling with it until you get it in the right place. There we go. And then I can go ahead and add the darker color over the top here. All right, there's that one and that one. And then when we pull this away, I know this is miraculous. We did this with my stamp club, and they're like, oh my gosh, how can it be the same ink color? But that's what happens when you darken the shade of it. So pretty miraculous, right? So that is our finished masked piece here. And then I'm just going to pull my washi tape gently off from the back and you won't even need to know it's there. And you probably noticed here, you can see how here on my scrap paper, like when I went off the edge, I got a line right there. That's what I avoided by making my cardstock just a little bit smaller than the mask. Plus then you can tape it to the back of the mask. It's pretty ideal situation. All right, so we've got our flower here, and it's gonna sit on our card like this. And then we wanted something to set this off really nicely from the background. So I've got this piece of the designer series paper here. Now, you could, of course, cut out a rectangle from the middle if you want to save this, but I'm just splurging here. We're just going to go ahead and use it because it's our free paper anyway. Let's see. I just lost my seal for a moment there. Okay, so I'm just going to slot this on here, add this to my card, and then I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to layer this up. And then we're gonna add our greeting and some bling. So we'll talk here about greetings, and I'll tell you what my favorite stamp from this set is. That should not be my favorite set, but it is what it is. So we're gonna layer this on, and we have just enough of that pretty stripe there to really show off our flower. And of the stamps, if you know me, you might be able to guess that my very favorite one is I Didn't Forget Your Birthday. It's just stretching out the celebration, or I'm just stretching out the celebration. So the greeting that goes on the front of the card for that one that's perfect is grateful for the everyday magic of you, right? Everyday magic, and I'm stretching out the celebration. So I've already stamped that onto a piece of Mango Melody cardstock and then selected a die here. This die is the one from this bottom set of 3. I like to just leave that washi tape on there because I know I'm going to use it again. So there you can see are lots of different choices here for the different greetings or other greetings. There's even a fun sort of irregular hexagon, some little leaves, this cute little tulip, which is a darling accent that you could use on lots of things. All kinds of good possibilities. So we're going to take this and pop this up on dimensionals and add this to our card like so. Okay. And then we need some bling to go with this. So I brought several choices to show. These are the pastel iridescent rhinestones. These are the basic jewel iridescent rhinestones. And these are the pastel adhesive back sequins, which come in 2 different sizes. And honestly, I don't think that you can go wrong with these. All of them are great choices. I'm running a little low. I think I'm going to have to reorder these pretty soon here. I think we're going to go with, I am a big stinking fan of these pastels here. So I'm going to go ahead and put one on here like this. And then I like the contrast with the smaller size. So I'm going to pop another one on like that. This is cut separate. That's why it fell off there. So there we have our pieces there. Of course, then we would stamp in the middle with the I Didn't Forget Your Birthday greeting. So let's go ahead and add that. And then if you were doing envelopes for this card, it would be really easy to go ahead and add like part of a flower. See, there we go, stretching out the celebration. Really easy to add a part of one of the mask items to the envelope. So we have envelope here like this. And actually, you know what? It would be really pretty to just do, we'll go crazy. Can we go over the back? So we'll have it peek from the front to the back. So this is the part where you want to be a little careful because you don't want to go over the edge, random sequins, of your, I'm living dangerously by not, I just went over the edge. I just said not to do that. Okay, well, this is what you get for making things up on the fly. All right, so we have just our light version there. You know what? I'm just gonna do that corner now. All right, so there we have our first mask, and then I'm gonna add our second mask. Let's see. Oh, it's a little trickier to do when you're trying to figure out where it was supposed to go. All right, and then I'm gonna add our Melon Mambo here. Now you have to kind of get over the fact that the spine of the card is gonna get a little bit inky. That's okay. And I'm going to be really careful not to go over the edge. This is where the mini blending brushes would be really handy. And then I could add the leaf too. So let's see, which way did the leaf go? Huh. apparently I can't remember which way the leaf goes. I feel like, does it go this way? Oh, it goes that way. So you know what? You don't have to do it the way they said. I don't really want it to go down here like this. Oh, maybe I do. All right, so clearly we'll have to bring back in our mask here so that our map, so that I don't get ink all over. Oh yeah, you can, hey, line it up with the error there on my envelope. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's just a different effect. And then we're gonna add our accents to our greenery. That's not on the piece. Like I said, it does line up. You just have to take an extra second to get it situated. And then miraculously, we're layering a little extra green on top. And there we have our matching envelope. So now we have the envelope that comes across from the front and it has that fun flap on the back side there, like so. So think about how you can use your masks. Obviously, there are lots and lots of great choices for them. This is a really fun card. It makes it a great centerpiece. Adding in a really awesome new greeting set, something fancy with all those fancy tags is a good one. I really like some of these other greetings too. There's sympathy, which is of course a card that is important to send, let people know we're thinking of them. But I also like that this one has, you know, some happy things too. Here's to beautiful beginnings and happily ever afters, which would make a great wedding card. All kinds of fun there. May the good you do come back to you. Thank you. And then there are fronts and backs for many of these. So happy birthday, congratulations. And then our everyday magic on there. So anyway, hope that you guys enjoy our cards today, or our card today, and ideas for using those masks. Don't let them flutter off in the January through April book without you noticing them. So hopefully you've picked up on them from today. So, all right, happy stamping, guys. Thank you for watching Maker Mornings with Meg, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy stamping.